I mean, this is European team OEX. Is what they went by in Europe, and you know, SLG, the French team, right? There's a lot of talent coming out of out of France, and I think it's safe to say that Quadrant have clearly proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with here. Now we'll see what happens though, because eUnited had a day to rest. This obviously is a different situation than what we've previously seen, because if we're being honest, right, the way that yesterday went, we ended things a little earlier so that this way we can sort some things here within the on the back end. And eUnited and Quadrant, had they played, actually would have felt really good about Quadrant's chances in that. But now that they have had a day to rest, I'm a little worried about how Quadrant's going to perform, and eUnited getting that time to go over film for sure. But here's the map layout and where we're going to be heading to, and we're starting things off, Tony, with Oddball Recharge.
I love me some Oddball in this game. A lot of changes going from Halo 5 and Halo 3 into Halo Infinite. You have the best 2 out of 3 rounds, and it's going to be exciting. On Recharge, you have that sword, you have that grapple, you have the repulsor, all the resources that you need. Now it's all about execution. Yeah, well, our first game, Recharge Oddball. You saw right there, too, Live Fire Slayer for game 2 there. Who knows, right, what could end up happening with this? But one thing I know for certain is that we are in for a banger of a match. And here we go. We're starting things off. Who better than Spartan? Spartan now going to make his way right over towards top goal, but it looks like he's going to have some resistance. Gets the melee, gets the trade, multiple going down. It looks like eUnited going to get a little bit of advantage on this one. Yeah, actually, this is a real strong start for eUnited, and wisely enough for Quadrant to try and grab the ball there, but the start from eUnited is exactly what you want to see. You got Mangler, you have Ball in top yellow, you got support as well on the Whirlpool side in tower. This is a good setup here thus far. We'll see how they play around with this. But be careful, now you actually have 2 players making their way over towards the attic side of the map while also collapsing on the C side. So if Quadrant can get these slays, they can easily grab this ball and gain control. But as I say that, SLG now going to take down Nick right off the screen, and Spartan equalizing the situation. We're back to a little bit of a 3v3. Yeah, this is where you're going to be looking to see Spartan and them try their best to rotate this ball. But I'm actually really curious what Nurix is going to be doing here. Ball has been played in the middle. It's kind of like a soft play ball. They grab this and bring this all the way back over to the tower. They got support. There was really nothing left that eUnited can do there. They scraped up a decent amount of time. But now let's see the defense of Quadrant here. Chick actually going to go all the way down to 1 shot. Luckily, he was able to play his life. Meanwhile, Fragger is fragging out, taking down Nick with a beautiful, perfect kill. And now we're going to see how Quadrant can hold on to this setup. They have to obviously grab the ball and put it in hands, but the pieces are there. They got to put it together. This is actually a really good play from SLG. The disengage, recognizing that that was not going to be a winnable fight. But this is where, oh, what a nade there. But this is where the collapse from eUnited needs to be coordinated. But if you're Quadrant, the defense is going to be so important here, and so far, so good. And mind you, that camouflage is coming up in about 10 seconds. So now with this setup here, they're going to have to rotate over and grab that camouflage here. SLG going right in for the challenge, but ends up being put in the dirt. Back-to-back kills coming out of Spartan and Rain. This is actually a really dangerous spot for Quadrant to be in here, because now that, they've lost out on camo, and I believe they lost out on it a second time, and Spartan can kind of just run roughshod, do whatever he wants to do here. I kind of want to see them get away from this area, though. I'm not the biggest fan of the elevator hold, but because they have camo, they can allow Spartan to be able to move around the way that he wants. And that is exactly what he's doing. With the camo and Mangler, he's going to be taking up some heads. Sneaking right behind enemy line. Nobody has any idea where he is. Ends up getting the assist. Rain coming out with the cleanup. Ends up getting the cross-map shots. Beautiful slays coming out of eUnited. The coordination is looking great. And mind you, the game's been out for, 4 weeks? And you're already seeing this setup being locked in by eUnited. Oh, this is actually scary. So the reason why I wanted to see maybe some movement away from elevator was because they needed to have a body positioned over here at top yellow and glass, and they have that, right? But they have the support. We have to see how Quadrant's going to try and force their way out of this. Winning some key engagements, that's going to be everything. But just as I say that, 4 down right away. eUnited, they're firing on all cylinders. Rain and Spartan are pretty much fragging out. They really are. Actually, Rain has only died 1 time in this entire game. Meanwhile, SLG was able to get himself a sword, so watch out. If anybody can open up this map, it's going to be him. Beautiful flank coming in. Frag going to be awarded the kill for that one. Gets the first one in Swan. He's going to be taken down, but great damage coming out of Quadrant. All right, Quadrant
They got to rally the troops here. Now, the difference between this and previous Halos is you have those rounds. You have to reset after each round of oddball. So you're not really going to see that snowball progress. It's more just about getting the points rather than it's going to be about, you know, trying to get the perfect setup and try and hold them for as long as possible. So in this particular instance, Quadrant, they have a lot of work ahead of them, but it's very doable for them to try and climb their way back into this game. They have the time to do so. They just need the positioning.
Love the movement coming out of Nurix, blocking all those lines of sight. And now Fragger immediately dropping the ball, using it as bait right there, going in with the sword. That's what I like to see. Let me tell you, the sword is my favorite weapon in this game,
awesome.
Mainly because I can't shoot.
Well, yeah. I mean, you preaching in a choir, buddy. That's me all the time. But look at this rotation that we're seeing out of Quadrant. What they did was they played ball over toward Whirlpool. They got themselves Camo, which is now going to give them the freedom to be able to command the map, and they're going to take this away from them. But the Camo player needs to be effective here. If the Camo gets wiped out, you get one kill out of it, but man, I would have liked to have seen like kind of what Spartan did, but that's where Fragger picks up the pieces. So far, so good.
Nurix getting a beautiful stick. Frag gonna follow it up with another kill. Multiple going down for eUnited. The setup is locked in from the boys in blue. It's 61-48 going in favor of eUnited, but Quadrant are making a run.
Well, this is now going to be where eUnited makes the push happen, right? Sure, you know, Chick's got himself the sword, but he's not going to be in a position to be effective with that, and SLG is fighting the entirety of eUnited, so it wasn't really much that he could do in that. At the very least, they were able to gain a decent amount of points. They were down to like 6 or 7 at one point, and they climbed all the way back up to 55, so they're still very much in this first round of this match.
You know, let me tell you, there's been so much excitement. It's been a roller coaster of emotions. This is only round 1 of game 1, by the way. I'm on the edge of my seat at the moment here as shots starting to ring out for Rain. He has a player right behind him, going in for the bait and switch, putting in the damage. Sadly, he's going to be taken down, hitting the black screen, but still, 11 kills coming out of both Rain and Spartan.
You know, I have to say, that was an interesting situation there. The transition from Yellow, when Spartan came up and his teammate actually went down, because there's no player collision, you can actually hug the wall. You don't have to worry about wrapping around your teammate in those instances, so you can play tighter angles and tighter like routes. I really like how the players are taking advantage of the kind of new elements that have been introduced. But this right here, this is a good setup for Quadrant. If they can continue to hold this round will be dangerous for eUnited to come back here. And Chick, massive kill there as well.
And you know, as you kind of alluded to before, you weren't a fan of this addict setup, and to be honest, I noticed a lot of these pro teams, for example, like eUnited, love to set up over toward the A side, but Quadrant are nice and tight here. Oh! Beautiful repulsor, putting that player down. Beautiful double kill coming out of Chick. This man is really going off. 2 down going eUnited. Quadrant
That's the round. That's the round. I mean, just like that, Quadrant managed to come back here, Tony. That was crazy. They were getting out-fragged out the wazoo, and they find a way to climb back in. That yellow setup was perfect.
You talked about it. They were so nice and tight with each other. They were within elbows length of each other. The moment they came in, beautiful kills coming in, taking down that player. Now we're going to switch on board now with Spartan. Excuse me, now SLG going in for the challenge on Spartan over toward the battery side, but Spartan going to win that one.
See, the problem there was like in the first game was that Quadrant gave eUnited too much space. The fact that Quadrant started this one off, got very aggressive and in their face, and did not allow them to have any kind of space to get that camouflage out of the break, just goes to show that this team is adapting on the fly.
And Quadrant going forward down is not going to be looking good. Once again, eUnited now set up over towards the A side of the map. Rain getting a big kill on Nurix. They're going to be trading off kill.
Oh, good angle.
Ryan has some kind of angle where he's blocking every line of sight without, and still putting down massive amounts of damage. That's a beautiful kill coming out of Ryan, and Rain was able to get away with the camouflage.
You know what's crazy? I actually didn't even think about shooting through the steps like that. That's something it never occurred to me. Because when I see steps, I'm like, oh yeah, the bullets aren't going to go through there. But the thing is any amount of damage that you can put in for your teammate to get that slight upper hand, that's big. And another thing that Rain did there was so sick. He actually just shot the nades and pushed back the player that was trying to challenge in the secret. That, again, just the little things that this team does, that eUnited does, that all of our pro teams do. It's so cool to watch.
Ryan going into the challenge against 2 players. I'm not that good at math, but a 1v2 situation doesn't sound good for eUnited. 3 down going eUnited. Remember, this kind of happened before. The boys in red, they start off with a big run. Quadrant are coming back.
That's the problem, man. eUnited, they get a hot start, And then Quadrant, they never lose their composure. Camo's going to be up in less than 20 seconds here. The calls have been made. You got 3 players that are going to be circling around Hydro here, actually. One's going to be in Tower, and 2 more coming to Hydro, too. This is actually a great play for eUnited. And I kind of feel like Quadrant made a bad call there, bringing the ball to Tower. Whirlpool would have been a better option, but they clearly weren't confident to take it that route.
Let's see how they turn things around here. On board now with Chick. Holding down the bottom of that. Nobody able to spot him just yet. He's actually going to get himself a free camouflage, popping that immediately, electing not to save it. Now going in for the challenge on Ryan Nuke. Ends up getting the kill, but he trades off. You're right. He had to live right there. Wasn't able to do it.
But you know, though, I was going to say, had we ended up seeing the kill come through there, at the very least, Nurix manages to secure that one and get the ball back. But, you know, I think it's all right. You know, it's okay if you don't necessarily get to do a lot with camo, because all that means is that you prevented the enemy team from being able to use camo effectively. We also had an awesome splode to bring the sword over to you. That, of course, is a mechanic reintroduced in Halo 5 and brought back here for Halo Infinite. It's something that is a big part of Halo for such a long time. But now they're looking for this elevator setup once again, and eUnited really do like this, but Quadrant have to figure out a way to break it.
Yeah, Ryan was set up beautifully. And meanwhile, Rain kind of overextended, working on the spawn. Just puts down a couple of shots, but it sadly is going to be taken down. Ryan still having the sword in hand, hits him with a knick-knack paddywhack, takes that player down. Chick able to get a double kill, though, and back on top is Quadrant, still having that ace setup locked down.
You said knick-knack paddywhack, but unfortunately Quadrant were the ones that were giving, you know, that got the bone there. You know what I mean? They were giving it because they got 4 down on that play. That was an incredible break from Quadrant. That could have easily had been gone poorly for them. But you know what? The French squad managed to find a way to rally back. And what a nade from SLG. The way that he has just improved as a player in all aspects of his gameplay, but also just as a person too. Had a chance to talk to him. He's been working on his English. He really wants to come out to the States more often, participate in more competitions, and I think if Quadrant's playing like this, they're proving that they certainly belong right here.
Fragger now having the sword in hand, trying to get behind enemy lines. Sadly, he's going to be shut down. Another 2 players going down for the boys in blue. Meanwhile, Rain actually electing to play the ball, gets him a triple kill. Rain is going off.
Unbelievable plays there by Rain, by eUnited. They're so close to winning this one out. His shot has been crispy today. Granted, he ended up losing that fight, but he's got 13 kills in this round alone. And in the last game, he was on fire too. Just look at that nade placement as well from Ryan Noob. Hadn't really talked much about him today, but I have no doubt in my mind in this next round, he's going to play a factor. eUnited managed to go up 1-1.
Both of these teams are undefeated going into this pool play matchup, and now we're going into round number 3 on Oddball. So many implications with this game. So I'm just taking control of the series here as Nick gonna put some excellent shots on Nurix, forcing him to back down, but I believe he was able to get away with the camouflage.
That's massive. He does die though, finally, but a good call on your part, Tony, to recognize that that was Nurix who went for it. And I think eUnited, right, they did everything that they needed to do. Big win there for Rain as well, is probably gonna help them to get spawns, at least in the long haul. So the support's going to be coming. Ball still not grabbed, no points on the board, but that just goes to show you how closely contested these 2 squads are.
Switching gears over towards Chick, having the mangle in his hands. This is a close-range combat weapon, and he has no idea. Oh, let's go! That's going to be a beautiful back-to-back coming in, able to take down Nick. But meanwhile, Spartan and Ryan are getting back-to-back kills on the kill feed. So big kill out of Quadrant, but eUnited are still winning most of the individual gunfights, giving them control.
Rain is not missing a single shot. He is on fire. It has been so impressive to watch his progress as a player from when I got to first see him in Halo 5 to now. He's only gotten better. He's like a fine wine. And same thing for Spartan as well. He's a player who's been in this for such a long time. So to see him here along with this squad again, playing the way that they're playing, you love to see it. But Quadrant, though, they're not making this one easy, not by any stretch of the imagination. No ball's been picked up yet, so we're still very much where we were just a little while ago.
Rain, I talked about that underrated player, but he is finally going to be shut down. Quadrant now having a 3v2 situation. I talk about it all the time. If you're in a 4v4 situation, you cannot be the first player to go down. You can't give the enemy team any advantages.
So Nurix is trying to take this ball away. but he's going to be running into the loving hands of Ryan, who 3 players as well by Pipes. Ball's going to be out by Whirlpool. You got a lot of activity out there as well. Good spawn advantage for Quadrant too. This is where I'm really going to look for Rain to be the playmaker here. He's got a mangler. He's low side. That's going to cause people to turn and pay attention to him, just as you're seeing right here, and that's pulling attention away from Whirlpool. But just like that, man, you end up seeing a great play, great execution, but even better there from Nurix, stopping the camel. Everything was going right. That was wild. He used a grapple shot, get shut down immediately. Tony, these players are using the sandbox to its fullest potential.
They really are. Ryan is doing a great job of grappling that camouflage to himself. Sadly, he's going to be iced out here. Fragger now going in for the challenge on Ryan Noob. That's not the player you want to challenge. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that. I didn't come out okay.
You know what, though? In that particular instance, right, the ball was in play, but I never felt like eUnited were in a dangerous spot because they knew that they had someone in the back line, someone on the flank to try and handle the business that needed to be done. The issue is that you're not getting a lot of time with this ball because the moment you get set up, and the way the Halo Infinite is such a fast-paced game, you don't really get those moments. So you kind of have to scrape as much time as you can. 2 down now for eUnited. Let's see if Quadrant can play through this advantage.
31 to 15 lead, win in favor of eUnited, but obviously Quadrant still within striking distance, and that's gonna be a killing frenzy out of Spartan the dog. His bite is louder than his bark, I promise you.
Wait a minute, he's 10-2. So that's wild.
Just in this overtime, yeah, just in this round.
He's 10-2 just in this round, and he managed to pull off a killing frenzy. It's just wild that Spartan kind of hit a second, third gear in this fight, and it's so close. No one has really gotten control, but now we're gonna see this Hydro hold here and a great bait and switch challenge by Quadrant. We'll see how they're gonna play around with this because they also will have Sword here too to help them out.
Shock rifle going in for the no-scope, able to get the cleanup with the BR, taking down Rain. That's going to be a big kill. They're still holding on to this ball. He goes in for the challenge, getting a little too frog. You're going to leap your way onto the black screen, buddy.
So look for SLG to play that ball when he feels like he's in a dangerous spot. But are they going to be in a position to regain the ball, right? That's what you're always looking for. And in this Hydro area, you don't really have the angles to get back up to the top of the map, given where the ball spawns in batteries. So that is going to be more of an advantage for eUnited, but Quadrant do have a slight lead.
As they do, it's actually 45 to 38 right now. Meanwhile, Ryan getting a big kill on Fragger, and nades are starting to fly off, but he's able to stay alive. That ball now going to move over towards the A side of the map. Ryan holding things down. He knows that the rotation could come from Whirlpool, and he's ready for it. Meanwhile, Spartan utilizing the pulsar. That's going to be a big kill. With eUnited, every time there's a big frag that comes on the board, it's usually the boys in red. 3 down, go Quadrant.
It's the fact that he manages to stay around there, and I got to give credit to Nurix for managing to get through and cut through all the noise, but Spartan causing problems on the Whirlpool side of the map gives eUnited so much freedom to scoop up as much ball time as possible. They're really dominating and coloring the map red here, not allowing Quadrant to get an opening to try and push this ball.
Well, luckily, Nurix off the screen does get a big kill, and if Chick was able to win that 50-50, that would have been huge. Nurix does end up getting a double kill, but his teammates need to step up along with them. He has 11 kills right now, the only player in double digits for his entire squad.
Well, they get that ball, and they're trying to bring it long haul. You're going to get a lot of rolling on that ball, but of course, he's going to go down there, and now this is an opportunity for them to try and gain as many points as possible. But the onus is going to be on Chick here to have to win this tower battle. If he doesn't win it, that is going to provide such an opening for eUnited on the right side of the map.
And hang on here, we're approaching the 4th quarter of this game. Fragger able to take down Ryan Noob. Every second of ball time is going to matter. They have to scrap things up here. Another 3 down, go eUnited. Quadrant gaining all the advantages. Spartan trying to stay as long as possible, scrapping up that ball time. But Quadrant going to start turning these seconds into minutes. eUnited needs to be careful.
Oh, but look at the positioning on the other side of the map. You got 2 guys coming from long haul and yellow. Ryan Noob can play spoiler here. He's a sneaky player. He likes to get behind the enemy lines. They have to remove him, and they do just that. They have the sword as well. They have a good setup here. Now let's see what Spartan can do. You also have 1 player all the way in the back by Pipes, and this is really going to be trouble for eUnited to try and break this. They're all over the place.
Less than 15 seconds needed for Quadrant here, and they're still winning their individual gunfights. eUnited going to go 2 down, but Quadrant going to answer back. Nick going to try to chase that ball player off the map. At least he gets the ball out of his hands, but it's going to be reset.
Okay, are they going to be in positioning, though? Yes, they are. That was such a great play. They still stayed around that area. They forced eUnited to have to invest every player on Hydro's side of the map so that this way Quadrant can just position themselves to play for the reset here. 2 players go down. Is there an opening for Quadrant to win this one? They're so close, Tony.
That they are, and Norris is going to be taken down over towards the Whirlpool side of things, giving the advantages all towards eUnited. Spartan just holding it down, baiting the ball, and now going to advance over towards control room.
They have one push Quadrant to try and stop this in its tracks. So actually, I stand corrected. The ball is down, and actually that push is coming into effect here. Fragger, he's having to deal with 2 players from behind, and 2 go down for Quadrant as well. eUnited have to get that ball, but there it is. They're bringing it over to the yellow side of the map. This setup could be dangerous given where the players are positioned. 1 by Hydro, 1 long haul. They have the map covered.
The question is, can they lock down the setup? They need 1 or 2 more rounds of slays, and they can come out with the win. Now approaching the 92nd portion of this map, eUnited still holding onto the ball. SLG trying to buy enough time for his teammates, but Spartan gonna get the big, crucial win.
That is gonna do it. eUnited. I mean, look, Quadrant did not make it look easy, did not make it easy for them at all, but eUnited, man, way to clutch up in those moments where things could seemingly go very wrong. I mean, I loved what Quadrant was doing there toward like the near end of that game, the way that they managed to position everyone around the map. They were prepared for the play ball, but the response from eUnited to not allow them to get comfortable to grab the ball right away, perfectly done. eUnited certainly earned that win.
They did, but let me tell you, Quadrant made it tough on them. Quadrant were doing everything that a successful Halo team has to do.
Yeah.
They were waiting for each other. They were playing in twos. They were baiting and switching. They were winning some of those individual gunfights, but towards the end game when it mattered most, it seemed like eUnited might have just been a little too much for them, at least in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, very clear, right? You know, Spartan put himself in multiple great positions to try and, like, fend off the Quadrant push. Rain looked amazing all throughout that. But let's take a look, though, at the series layout and where we're going to be heading to next, because it's Live Fire Slayer. And honestly, man, with the way that Rain's playing, oh, boy, I am scared. And then we go back to Recharge for Strongholds. And then, if necessary, we'll go to Aquarius CTF. And lastly, we take it to the streets for some Slayer action. Tony, I'm not going to lie, though. We got ourselves a bit of a banger series here. Quadrant has really flown under the radar, I think, in this tournament. And these games that we're seeing from Quadrant are clearly showing that this team, they're neck and neck with the top of North America. This is very, very scary if you're an NA fan.
Yeah, honestly, you know, I feel like I'm an honorary EU member now. I got to actually cast HCS, the EU side qualifiers, and let me tell you, 7 out of the 8 players in the top 2 teams are all French. France is on the map. They may not be household names here in the North American region, but I got to learn firsthand how good these guys are. And I promise you, some of these guys watching at home, they became Quadrant fans. They might have bought some jerseys.
Well, I had a chance to meet SLG and Fragger at Gfinity years ago. And, you know, the hunger, the passion that these guys have to be the best in the game, like, this isn't like an NAEU thing. I honestly don't even think SLG really cares about that. I think they just want to be the best in the game, period. And if they keep playing like that, that will be very, very scary. Quadrant has been so impressive throughout their run. Get to know these names, SLG, Nurix, Chick, as well as Fragger. These guys, they're the real deal, man. They really are.
And one of their specialties, you know, I watched their stream, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't speak French. However, I can tell the
no way, Tony, you're killing me.
I'm sorry, but I love French toast. These guys, their communications on another level. I can tell not only the call-outs coming in, but I can tell they're responding to the call-outs. They're playing for each other. They're all playing unselfish Halo, and in my opinion, that's winning Halo. These guys have what it takes to succeed, and there is no wonder why they're the number 2 seed coming out of the EU and shocking some of these teams coming out of NA. Remember, they won 3-0. They won 3-0 against Oxygen, who pushed eUnited to Game 5.
And a lot of people are feeling like Oxygen is one of those teams that, you know, could have a very strong top 8 showing here, given how well that they've been playing, right? A lot of names that not a lot of people are familiar with. I'm certainly not familiar with a lot of them. So knowing that Oxygen was playing that well, but then, you know, Quadrant 3-0s them, and then they take eUnited Oxygen to Game 5, just goes to show that anything is possible in this group. Like, everyone said Pool D, Group of Death, but I'm going to keep it real, man. Every group has been a group of death.
You're right. You're right.
Well, Live Fire Slayer's coming up next here, and let's see what Nurix and company can do to try and bring this one back and tie it up 1-1.
Nurix going for a good starting strat, trying to make his way over towards the pillar side of the map, but the problem is eUnited are way too prepared. They were ready for it. He kind of pushed it by himself, got shut down immediately.
A big scrappy battle happening on the low side for the sniper rifle, as they should. And I love the use of the heat wave there by Ryan. He's the type of player that will try his best to figure out every angle that he can use that heat wave or use guns like that so that he can get the upper hand in those engagements. But we got to see how they try and break out of this. And that was a stick from Chick. The Chicky stick. Love to see it. Very well done. But they got to capitalize off of this here, Tony.
Well, they just put him 3 down right now. Chick is now going to try to advance over towards top mid. Meanwhile, Sparring gets a big kill on Fraggle off his screen, but Chick going to answer back, putting him right down. It's actually a 7-6 lead going in favor of the boys in blue. Quadrant can capitalize if they hop on these spawns.
And that actually was a very clear small talk call there that Chick got from SLG. He died over by Garage, and Chick went on the hunt. You can't let Rain have freedom on the left side of the map here. But I wonder how I was going to say, the push is going to have to come from low, given where Quadrant are positioned. But a great response, and Chick is on fire right now.
That's going to be a killing spree earned from Chick, and he's not done yet. SLG, the IGL, able to take down Rain. That's the initial kill, and Chick putting some excellent cross-map shots. He may not have been able to get the kill right there, but forced Sparring to back down.
And Chick getting those shots there on Rain indicates to him no one came around to challenge, so they're all going to be living on the left side of the map. Chick has the freedom to go and push underground so that this way he could try and capitalize on at least 1 or 2 frags. He gets that frag, and that is going to continue to add on to this lead. The way that Quadrant are playing, it's very clear. They're listening to each other, they're taking their time, and they're playing smart Halo.
United well aware where the spawns are coming in. Looks like they have a nice little setup going here, but Nurix was able to get away with the heat wave. Now gonna go right over towards top mid, going in for the challenge, but he ends up getting 1 shot melee. 2 down, go to boys in blue, and Ryan going for a challenge of his own. He's gonna go down to the back-to-back kills come out of Nurix and SLG. Can they get the camo? No, it's in the hands of King Nick.
Yeah, well, let's see what King Nick can do here, because with this camo play, your footsteps, silence, visuals, it's going to be hard to see. You have to have those camo eyes. And he doesn't really need to do much right now. He's just playing the information game. As if he takes control of mid like this freely, that gives him so much knowledge. Like, okay, there's going to be a player located here. Like, he now knows that all 3 players are going to be by tower, so look for this collapse to come from eUnited.
Penguin camouflage in the hands of it. That's a dangerous combination, but luckily they're able to shut him down before he starts to go off. Great job by Quadra. Meanwhile, Spartan taking down Nurix. Ryan now going to try to stay alive. Strong siding his way over toward the bottom tower, and he has a heat wave in the back pocket.
That was a great use of camo there, and it is reflected on the scoreboard. They have a substantial lead, and the reason why is because they're controlling those power items, and they weren't just throwing themselves at fights. No, what they were doing was taking advantage of the information that was being gained, because in Slayer you have these mini objectives. It's not just going to 50 frags. No, it's about controlling the power items and of course map positioning, how you get the sniper, how you're able to get possession of weapons like the camo. All that stuff works out so well for them here.
I'm not sure what, I mean, I know it's a little hot in here, but Rain actually elected to go for a little dip in the water there. He didn't have any power weapons. I don't know what he was doing, but he just jumps right off the map there. Not going to be good for eUnited. Meanwhile, Ryan holding down top nest, waiting for anybody to come on by. Still having that heat wave, great for close range engagements, but nobody home just yet.
Yeah, that was a little confusing as well, if I'm being honest. Oh, Spartan! He
no
gets
confusion about that.
And that was also a killing spree too. Spartan, again, he's had one heck of a morning here. He had to have eaten his Wheaties, or who knows, maybe he had French toast, Tony.
That's the breakfast of champions.
That is the breakfast of champions.
Nick now going to make his way over towards Nest. I'm loving this. I'm loving that eUnited always staying all on the tower side. It's the strongest side of the map, but Chick is aware of it. He's going for a flank. Meanwhile, Fragger's going to go down immediately, going for a flank of his own. Excellent shots coming out of Chick, forcing that player to back down. And Nurix coming in for the cleanup, but there are too many players on eUnited over towards Nest.
Pressure is going to be on for Quadrant here. They're down by a substantial amount. 9 kills is the difference between these two. And for eUnited, all they have to do at this point, Tony, is just continue to trade. But a big win by Nurix and a little body shot there, too. I mean, oh boy, that's a little spicy. I like that.
I like a little spice. I like a little spice in my life here.
Little sazon, little adobo?
You already know.
Oh,
You already know.
I already know who I'm talking to.
Nurix taking down Rain off the screen here, but Spartan going in for the challenge, not able to get that one. Nurix actually going to get
That's
himself a double kill. Things really are getting spicy.
This is actually kind of scary now for eUnited. They had a 9-kill lead. They need to hold this on. They can continue to trade like that, and they'll still maintain it.
Yes.
But for Quadrant, though, it's going to be about these team shots. And let's see what else SLG could do, because he's got a lot of information. There's no one low. I basically have vision of where, or I understand that no one's going to be here, so they're going to have to be nest in tower. And he's doing his due diligence, but he might get back here. Still manages to get a kill? What? Okay, finally he's taken care of, but geez Louise, the amount of, it just like the amount that he got out of that, Tony, was insane.
Value. Complete value coming out of Quadrant. And you know, but the problem is with Quadrant is that they have these situations where one player pops off. We need everybody Quadrant to pop off. You're going to go against a team like eUnited here on board. Now with Nurix over toward the bottom C side. Spartan able to get a double kill. So 2 going down for Quadrant here. And now eUnited once again having those numbers advantage. Now they can collapse on the spawns.
Well, my eyes are going to be on Fragger here, because he's 4 and 11, 6 assists. I kind of just want to see him. If you don't feel like the BR is crispy, then it's okay to just anchor. That's exactly what he's doing here. Anchoring in mid, supporting a 3-kill swing, and they get camouflage. They have to find this next player, but I mean, let's be honest, they know exactly where these spawns are going to be coming from. But Ryu manages to kill the camo player. That's massive for them. And now they're playing with no information again. They know where they're coming from because Live Fire is such a small map. But Ryu, man, I mean, the dude's insane.
High IQ player right there. Chick now going to make his way over towards bottom mid. Mind you, he does have Commando in his back pocket. Commando really strong on land. We're finding out a 6-kill lead still in favor of eUnited. Chick has to make something happen here, and it might be a flank. Maybe he can go down bottom mid, get behind enemy lines, but it's like he doesn't know exactly where he wants to go. He's trying to commit to something. Now he has a teammate.
Okay, great read there by Nick. He poked in. He was like, hey, I just want to see what's down here, and he got vision, and then he had a teammate there to back him up. Unfortunately for him, the rest of his squad, they actually went back in because they were anticipating a push coming from the top side. That didn't happen. There's a lot of investment low, and now eUnited's going to play with that info, and they'll be able to benefit with some more kills there.
Excellent nowadays coming out of King Nick here, but he's finally going to be taken down. Chick coming in with a huge cleanup. That's going to be good for them, but Rain somehow catching the incredible angle all the way from dummies towards bottom mid. Great kill coming out of Rain.
You know, I have to say, man, the low play, I get what they were trying to shoot for. They maybe wanted to force their way into garage, get those 3 kills, and get a little bit closer, right? But, oh, man, that's a tough one. Because once you get red and predicted like that, you have to abandon ship at that play. But still, though, they're only down by 5. This is very doable for Quadrant, but not if Ryu sneaking around getting kills like that.
IQ too high. Rain having the assault rifle in the hands, my second favorite gun. I love the spray. Going in for the challenge, able to take down SLG. Now going for the second one, and that's going to be a double kill. He's making it rain.
2 more kills left for eUnited, Tony, and it seems like this is all going to be tied up with a pretty little bow. Rain is one. He's going to get some flower bows. I don't know, maybe some Christmas. It's in the holiday spirit. He's got 13 frags, Spartan with 13 of his own. A very even spread here for eUnited. And I have to say, Fragger, way to step it up in this game, but too little, too late. eUnited walk away 50-43.
And again, the storyline to me with eUnited, you have all 4 players popping off, all of them in double-digit kills. They're going off together. Quadrant, again, have those moments. One player, great. He's doing good. He's getting that 11 kills, kind of leading the troop.
Yeah.
But that's going to work against some of these lower-tier teams. Not going to work against eUnited. Everybody needs to be going off.
Oh, yeah, eUnited is the type of squad that once they see, or once they smell blood in the water, they're sharks, and they will pounce on their target. Do sharks pounce? I actually don't know. Maybe they do. They strike? Yeah, I think strike's a better term there. But eUnited's playing some incredible Halo. And all credit to Quadrant for keeping that one close. I like that Fragger. He changed it up. He realized it wasn't really working out for him in these like 1v1s. So he was like anchoring, trying to support a bit more. When he did that, they picked up 3 kills, 2 kills, right? It was great. But the lead was so big for them that when you're up 9 kills like that, it's very, very hard, Tony, to come back. You have to do everything right. And unfortunately for Quadrant, they just couldn't find the right recipe.
Great job by Fragger by having the recognition that, he's not winning those individual gunfights.
Exactly.
So stop getting into them. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Spartan and Rain are winning all of their individual gunfights. They're taking those 50-50s. And mind you, you're still seeing the bait and switches that you want to see out of a top team. However, when it gets down and dirty and you need a piv, they're winning it.
Exactly, exactly. Well, if you're just joining us here, we have eUnited from North America versus Quadrant representing the European region. Most importantly, France. You know, shout out to our French audience who's watching, I'm sure. It has been eUnited, though, but they've been some close games. 2-1 to start things off. That one legitimately could have gone either way. Livefire saw eUnited get a sizable lead, and Quadrant did everything they could to try and come back. But unfortunately for them, eUnited, they knew that they were playing with that advantage. Now we go to Strongholds on Recharge. And, you know, Tony, I'm actually curious to get your take, because there's a lot of debate on what is the right way to play Recharge Strongholds. You know, B is important, but some people like to go for C, control that and B, and then others prefer the A to B hold because they like to get those crosses on the top catwalks and stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? I'm going to go far left field. I'm going to say C and A. Now,
that's bold.
And the reason why I say that, you have C and A, first of all, they're very close to each other.
That's
you
true.
You also have the commando bridge, that control center that you can look down. And B is so far out of the way.
True.
If you can spawn trap a team over towards B, it takes them so long to overextend over towards the C side or even A. And when that happens, what do? Because Strongholds is all about rotating. When all else fails, you rotate again. And so the moment they have to spawn up B, make their way over towards A, win their gunfights, what's going to happen is they're just going to rotate and go towards B. So I would say start off with a CA setup, challenge that enemy team, know where they're going to spawn, putting in that work, and then out-rotate them.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I've had these conversations with a lot of people, and the reason why people don't really like going for the CA hold is because there's a lot of narrow chokes going into A, right? You also have that catwalk from that yellow has clear vision to, but it's not and it's definitely a good idea though, especially if your plan is to start that rotation as soon as you start to see pressure on each side. So I think for the initial, it makes a lot of sense to actually try and go for C and A and then work your way over to B, but I do want to see a CA attempt. I just think it's very difficult to do given the amount of geometry that exists between A and C. It's a difficult one to hold, but not impossible as well.
I told you I'm a strange one.
Yeah, no, and I like it. We got to play matchmaking sometime. You know, I'm actually looking forward to this. But here we go. Off of the break, Spartan's going to get control of yellow as soon as he possibly can here to give some vision. Fragger was anticipating this, and what a read by Quadrant. 2 down, and they get full control. That was, oh man, that was beautiful.
Is SLG the IGL or the Slayer? Because he's playing like a daggone Slayer. Meanwhile, Nurse going right at Ryanu, but 2 down. Go to boys in blue. Quadrant needs to reset. He spawned up, reset, and start to get the push going.
But they do get control of B and A. A player here in tower, shots being sent across as well. Great reads here. And you can use that automatic weapon there with the commando. It's kind of like an assault rifle, except it shoots in a straight line and you can scope in with it effectively. But it literally is like that, especially with controllers. You could do some wild stuff with it. Brilliant play, though, by Rain to give them that opening in long haul. They have to try and react off of this, and their real only option is to try and challenge for A, but now you're going to start to see this attention brought over toward B.
And you notice that shock rifle is going to change hands once again here. 3 down, go eUnited. Nurix now going to make his way onto bottom A, having that shock rifle, getting right behind enemy lines, but meanwhile, Sparring taking out Frag. No team able to get that full map control that you need at the moment. And
you've actually casted a lot of the European Halo action over there with Gaskin and Shyway. And it's very clear that, you know, Quadrant have taken some pages off of Cartel, now Ascend's book. They're playing with a lot of aggression. They're not giving eUnited time to breathe. And that's something I've noticed a lot with these European teams, Tony. When it comes to strongholds, they're all about fly, and they'll send it. They'll send it full.
I agree. I think Navi's the only team that really doesn't mind slowing things down, but Sparring starting to up the tempo here, but SLG's ready for the challenge. Sadly, his 3 teammates are not. They go 3 down again.
All right, well, they have to now find a way to react off of this. And a beautiful challenge there by the King Nick. Brilliant work from him, and Fragger in a familiar situation, but this time against Rain, and Rain will get the better of him. And now I'm a little concerned here for how Quadrant's going to try and break this. They have to find at least one crack in the armor. Where's that kill going to come from here? Is it going to come from the player here? Is it going to come from Spartan, or are they going to try and force the issue on Seaside? They have to clear too, because Rain is looking to get a trip cap.
Quadrant had a 77-22 run here, but now with Trip Cap going handsomely in the favor of eUnited. Ryan Noob off the screen going to be able to take down Fragger, giving the advantages right off the bat. eUnited, once you go for B, it's so open, the collapse comes in, and now we have the return coming out of Nick.
That play was so sick. So instead of him going into B, and then that player now that's in the corner was anticipating him, he actually just stayed on the outside, let him think that he was safe to continue to crowd share. So he had no positioning, and by the time he turned around, because let's be honest, Spartan knew exactly where he was. He already had 2 bursts in him. So that was it. They clear that out. This Trip Cap continues, and eUnited, they are roaring here on Recharge.
That they are. They actually have just taken the lead. Spartan throwing some excellent nades, but he needs to stay alive, prioritizing his life, able to get out of that situation, but Fragger is going to get the initial kill on Rain off a screen. Spartan now holding him down. All they have to worry about is A at this point. They're spawning them over towards the B side of the map. Multiple players are going to go down here. Can eUnited hold on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they can. They seem like they're in a pretty solid spot here, right? They don't really have to worry about too much. Chick just doesn't want to go and selfishly get on this point without at least clearing a few kills, and he has the support to do so. So I prefer them playing out of a home flag rather than or a home hill rather. Oh, he got stuck. Ouch. But I'd prefer that than them fighting out of B, because that's always going to be a tough one. You have to basically push consistently together here. And now eUnited, they've added so many points to this lead.
Once again, you know, Fragger kind of being a little bit behind here with only 1 kill on the board. Luckily, he has 6 assists, so dimes are starting to come in. And Ryan Noob is grabbing that camouflage, but actually it was down to 1 shot. He wasn't able to get it, and Ryan Noob is going to be shut down here. Great nade coming out of Nurix.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you mentioned what's going on with Fragger. It has been Struggle City Population 1 for him, and he's going to need to find a groove here. It seems like he got knocked out of it after that oddball game. But now Fragger playing the objective here. He's got the assistance as well. Nurix coming in hot with the save. He's having a great game here, and this is where we start to see maybe Quadrant add some points to it, but they cannot give up any dumb deaths there as soon as they get the strongholds, and they lose it just like that.
Nurix going in for that challenge on Spartan, but Spartan wins his pivs all the time, and that was beautiful play by him. Rain now holding things down, but the sword going to come out of nowhere. That was going to be momentarily King Nick, but it's going to change hands over towards SLG.
Well, they're going to get for A and C, so they're going to do the Tony special here. But how do they hold this, right? You got 2 players actually by B, so the play is going to be for maybe A here, and he could do it with the sword, but there's going to be 2 bodies. Oh, they don't see him. Oh, they don't see him. He gets 1. Oh, he's got to get the second, but he ran right by him. Okay, he can patrol the door, so I think he's okay to just hold this angle for right now.
The communication right there, both of the players, the timing of that, both those players actually shifting over towards Whirlpool, and the sword's going to come in. SLG challenging across the map, forcing Nick to back down. Meanwhile, Ryan Noob getting a big kill off the screen. We have 12 kills coming out of Nick, 10 out of Spartan, and SLG still with that sword.
I'm not really wild about the fact that they had no one going to B, and I get it because there was no one really there to respond. So now that they have the neutral, they can play for a home. A is going to be wide open and available. You have a shock rifle here. It's not the best gun to have to hold this, but I know that he knows that he's all right because no one from Quadrant is going to be there to challenge him, and they get A.
3 players hitting the kill feed from eUnited. SLG going in for the challenge on Nick. Camouflage is coming up right now, and SLG just using it as bait and also able to take A at the same time.
I mean, hindsight's 20/20 in that situation. Maybe if you're, I think that was Spartan there, you go and help out the fight that's happening at C. But, oh my gosh, Fragger, let's go. And actually, we were talking about how he was struggling. He's got 8 kills. He has managed to scoop straight up to the top of the leaderboard as fast as possible here. He's been having a great game. Big win. Good help as well. I mean, they're roaring right now, but they have to keep their composure because eUnited knows that they can take advantage of them here.
Fragger is fragging out. They're finally going to be able to heat check him there, but meanwhile, the damage has been done. SLG going in for the challenge, but Rain making it rain once again. And now Tim going to make his way on long hole, staying alive. 2 caps in the favor of eUnited, but C.
Oh, that's a big nade. Oh, gosh. That was a beautiful nade. Tony, that was gorgeous. Because not only did he get the 2 shots on him, he was already winning that fight, but he knew that there was literally nowhere for him to go. Rain is on fire here. He's got 13 kills, 8 deaths, 8 deaths, 8 assists. Everything's going right. And oh, the cheeky grapple from King Nick just to let him know that he's coming right to him for a big old hug. And this is another trip cap for eUnited. Oh, Nicky Poo, you madman! But Fragger's there to stop it. And so long as Fragger starts heating up, maybe Quadrant can start to ride off of this here.
Ryan, who having the shock rifle in hands here. We're going to switch on board with Rain, who has that repulsory and ready to knock somebody off the map. Which he has to throw. Mind the gap, baby. Goodbye. Sayonara, Nurix.
Oh, boy. Things are getting a little scary here for Quadrant. They could go down 3-0, but they've made this such a competitive game here. A flip is coming at B. A great response by Ryanu, but he had no help to take that fight. Thankfully for him, Nick was there to back him up. And Nick has 24 kills, 10 deaths. He is on fire. He is untouchable here. Chick tries everything he could, but Nick is letting him know who's boss.
The body disrespect, giving him the people's elbow right there. Nick cross-map shots onto Fragger, staying alive, and look at the scoreboard. It's not getting any prettier. 216 to 140. The boys in red are poised to put their third and final map on the series.
They know exactly where Spartan is. C is currently being contested. There is, I think, one player lingering about there. But this has been a dominating end to the game here for eUnited if it keeps going like this. Still, though, opportunity. Let's not beat around the bush here. There's plenty of chances and opportunities for Quadrant to come back. This game is far from over, but they're going to have to start doing something about it right now.
As they do, ooh, Spartan coming right at Fragger. Beautiful slay coming out of him. Meanwhile, Chick somehow still alive over toward the C side of the map. Shots are going in. The nades are starting to fly out. Back-to-back kills going in favor of Nick and Rain, and that is going to be it.
King Nick, 27 and 10, had one hell of a game, a statement match that he needed to make against Quadrant, and that is exactly what eUnited did. A 3-0 sweep for eUnited, but Quadrant, look out everyone, because they are going to be a force in that championship bracket. I'm excited to see what else they could do here, Tony.
I'm excited too. Let me tell you, that's my boy King Nick. You know, he come from the tri-state area. He's over in
That's
Jersey.
Right.
He come out of the tri-state making Jersey
Dirty
proud.
Jersey.
Do your thing, boy.
Love it. Love to see it, man. It's always good to see fellow tri-state local family doing big things in Halo. But what a game for eUnited. Really fighting through adversity there, because that oddball game, Tony, was a tough one, and Quadrant made sure that eUnited had to earn that victory.
And that's what really kind of impressed me about Quadrant. I found this out when I was casting over in the EU side of things.
Yeah.
Fortitude. At all point in times, they're in the game and they're fighting. It doesn't matter if you're winning 249-0. Guess what? They're going to make that final second so hard.
Yeah, they're going to make all that time count. And, looking at the live fire game as well, right? There was a very clear, difference between how eUnited's philosophy of live fire Slayer worked, right? They were really focused on, just holding an area and taking ownership of that. Yeah. And then they would force Quadrant to have to kind of push them from an angle that maybe they weren't all that comfortable with. Like if you're looking back at that push that happened on the low side, you had 3 members there. No one up top getting vision, putting pressure, nothing. And the response from eUnited was fantastic. But the series in general, if we take a look at some of the moments and of course the series layout here, this was a great start of the day for eUnited.
Yeah, if you're coming in new to the broadcast, you didn't catch the beginning of the series, you can't tell how closely contested the series is. Those first 2 games we're seeing 2-1 going in favor of obviously eUnited, then the 50-43 win that was tightly contested. Obviously eUnited controlled about maybe 80% of the game, but Quadrant always seemed like they were in it and poised to make a comeback at any given time.
They were at 9 kills down, and then they managed to make it 4 kills, the difference between them. So all they needed was a clean round of slays. And I say that obviously recognizing how difficult that is. And they're like, all they needed was another round of slays. And it's like, no, they obviously needed to do a little bit more than that.
So do that voice one more time?
Obviously needed to do that. Yeah. But here's the thing though, right? eUnited's composure in that, understanding that they have that lead, they have that advantage, they play to it, and that continued onward in recharge, because once they knew that they had Quadrant right where they wanted them, they never let them breathe. They never let them feel comfortable. And that trip cap that they got, the first trip cap, man, I think that was the game decider there, because it went from Quadrant having a trip cap, full control, just dominating eUnited, to then the response and then there was just nothing that Quadrant can do out of that. Crazy series, crazy series. But let's take a look, though, at the entirety. And Tony, guys.